Hello and good afternoon, Iowa. I'm so excited for everyone to join this webinar today. And I'm just going to wait like another minute or so for more people to join in. And thanks again for joining this webinar. And if you were able to use your Uber Eats and enjoy, well, I really hope you were able to use your Uber Eats and enjoy lunch while watching this. I know this is for most people's break time, and let me know if you in the Q&A box like what you ordered for lunch. I think today we are having salads for lunch. Our office really loves trying to make more healthy, nutritious choices, and I really like having like lighter days too. Let me see what people are putting in the Q&A box. I see tacos. I'm seeing there's pizza, burgers. Okay. And there's some Asian food. I love sushi. It's one of my favorite things, and being in California, having a lot of especially the Bay Area, we have a lot of great choices in terms of like Japanese, Chinese, Filipino food. I'm seeing more Mexican food, burritos, Mediterranean. Our office really likes Mediterranean food. I think like the biggest like hits in our office, Mediterranean. We had like a really good Korean food on Tuesday. We had like something catered. Okay, I'm seeing hot dogs, sandwiches, always a classic. Okay, so before we get started, I just wanted to go over some housekeeping. At the end of this presentation, I'll be sending an email to provide the HRCI and shroom credits. It may take a couple of hours, or I think the latest will be by tomorrow morning that you'll get the credits. And if you have any questions throughout the presentation today, I'll do my best to check that Q&A box and get back to you as soon as possible, as these questions will be saved. I may not be able to address the questions as they come up, but I should be able to give you the answers in the follow-up email. And if you do want any further information, feel free to respond to that follow-up email. And also, we'll send the recording of the presentation you can share with your colleagues. So today we're going to talk about Iowa nonprofits and unemployment. Before I get started, just wanted to do a quick intro of myself. My name is Janessa Ponko, and I'm the membership development representative here at 501c Services. I've been in sales since 2016. I was working at a wedding fair for about 3 years. Then I've been, during the pandemic, setting up meetings for tech startups. And I've been with 501 since July 2023. I've been helping to schedule appointments and meetings for my manager. And the image of people that are bowling is of me and some of our sales and marketing team members. Heidi is my manager in the middle, and you may work with her in the future. Evan is on the right, who works on our marketing and web development. I'm really excited to be part of a company that's been helping nonprofits save time and money that can go towards furthering their mission. And we're based in San Jose, California, so we're in the heart of Silicon Valley, and we're dedicated to helping nonprofits reduce unemployment expenses across the nation. And thanks again for joining to learn more about cost-effective strategies and managing unemployment in your state. We're going to provide a broad overview on how unemployment insurance works, alternatives for 501c3 nonprofits when it comes to unemployment, how reimbursing works. We're also going to use some real life examples of nonprofits we've helped with our cost analysis, and finally provide more information on our company, 501c Services, and how many of our Iowa nonprofits have benefited from our services. First of all, just wanted to start off with a little history to put unemployment in perspective. Unemployment started in the US in the 1930s following the Great Depression and New Deal, where the federal government wanted to create a safety net for workers who lost their jobs through no fault of their own. From 1930 to 19 1972, 501c organizations didn't pay into unemployment benefits for separate employees. Although this saved them money from paying these taxes, employees that were laid off couldn't reap the benefits of having that safety net that for-profit companies provided. Now, fast forward to 1972, the federal government changed the law under the Social Security Act to where nonprofits must pay into unemployment, but they were provided different options in how they pay, so the tax wouldn't be seen as an unnecessary expense for them. Unemployment is overseen on the federal level. However, each state gets to manage their own programs however they choose. So throughout the US, you can see different taxable wage bases, tax rates, benefit amounts. But today we're just going to cover information here in Iowa. When it comes to management, unemployment rates can be adjusted annually and are adjusted by experience. So for instance, if you have a year or two of bad claims, your tax rate will increase. And most states, including Iowa, run as a risk pool. So the money that you're putting into this pool doesn't necessarily equate to what you'll get out of it. And what we're seeing is that a lot of nonprofits are putting more money into that pool than what they are actually getting out. And these total tax liabilities by employers are often greater than the claims paid, with reserves used in times of recession. And the tax liability is calculated by multiplying your taxable wage base by your employer tax rate. So take a guess on what a single claim can cost in Iowa. Feel free to put some guesses in the Q&A box. So I have, let's see, 7,500, 8,200, 6,175, 9,000, 8,300. Just as like a hint, the total cost is looking at the weekly benefit maximum times the maximum number of weeks someone can claim. As a little hint for that maximum number of weeks, it is 26 weeks. I have 10,000, 11,000, 13,375, 14,852. I'll read one more guess. 8735. So for that number, so the maximum amount a single person can claim on unemployment in Iowa can cost $15,652. Just as a caveat, this is what an employer is charged for employee benefits by the state. Those extended benefits you saw in the recession and extra COVID payments, they were covered by the federal government. The maximum weekly benefit amount in Iowa is $602. And when we multiply that number by 26 is how we get that $15,652 for the maximum of what a single person can claim on unemployment. The federal government sets the wage base at a minimum of $7,000 and there's no maximum. Iowa's taxable wage base is currently set at $39,500, which means for the first $39,500 an employee earns, your organization is taxed on that. And then the minimum tax rate is 0% and the maximum tax rate is at 7% in Iowa. And those are both set by the state. And the last thing I want to note is the improper payment rate from the last slide, which is 7.51%. And this overpayment equates to over $61 million in overpayments to former employees who are collecting unemployment from the past 3 years. This is information that we get from the Department of Labor. You can see that Iowa is one of the many states that is less than 10%. This is important to know as we really encourage you to look over your claims. Make sure that you're not overpaying for anybody's claims. Here at 501, we help organizations monitor this. But if you are managing on your own, you really want to make sure you're properly charged for a former employee's weekly benefit amount. And here's some interesting UI information that we found for the state of Iowa. The first is that reimbursers can still protest base period claims when they're not the most recent employer, and most states in America don't allow that. Also in Iowa, they conduct fact finder hearings. So that's where an employer must call into the state every time a new unemployment claim has been filed, and then you provide the separation details. And however, when you have a third party administrator and you provide that third party administrator with separation details, they'll handle that fact finder hearing. So the employer wouldn't have to call into the state every time on a single claim. And some alternatives for 501(c)(3) nonprofits. So there are three different alternatives. One is that you pay the state tax that we mentioned earlier. It includes the tax rate that's set by the state and taxable wages. Another option is that you can self-insure or reimburse for your unemployment, where you just pay dollar per dollar for your unemployment claims. So you're basically only paying for the benefits issued. And then the last option is kind of a hybrid of both, where you buy insurance that offers the savings of reimbursing while also providing that safety net. Just to let you know, reimbursing is not for everyone. The qualifications we look at for considering reimbursing is that an organization must be a 501(c)(3) nonprofit. It excludes religious institutions, and we recommend a gross annual payroll of $1 million or more, because typically if your payroll is under a million, especially significantly less, what you're paying into the state tax pool is probably pretty minimal, and you might not see much significant savings by opting out. However, there may be some scenarios where you could see potential savings. So we're happy to look at your numbers, even if you're just slightly less than a million. And then we also look at a positive audit of the past 3 years. So that means in order for reimbursing to benefit you, we try to look at if what you paid each year in taxes exceeds what you pay in actual claims. And then we want to make sure that there isn't any major disruption in funding for the next 24 months. So we recommend to stay with SUI if you know you might have anything from layoffs, reduction in workforce, losing funds, closing programs where your tax rates may go up with experience. And then you probably want to wait once those claims decrease. What it means to reimburse is that your tax rate turns to 0%, and the state will bill you only for the unemployment claims you receive over the quarter. It's a great way for nonprofits to save money and be a better steward of donor dollars. And the process is seamless for separate employees. No matter how your employees separated, they'll still go through the same process of EDD, where the state determines the benefit amount based on base period pay. And then the only change is how that quarterly bill is calculated. Instead of the state unemployment insurance tax, you're now only responsible for the charges your organization incurs. We work with over 1,500 nonprofits. Several of them are in Iowa. So you're probably wondering what motivates them to reimburse. In most cases, reimbursing saves money. On average, savings can be anywhere from 20 to 40% compared to paying into the state tax pool. And this is really the driver for most organizations to switch. Reimbursing eliminates any concern of changes in that state tax, such as tax hikes you can't control. And you become a better steward of donor dollars as you just pay for your actual claims than into the state pool. And because unemployment is managed by the federal government, big picture, reimbursing is allowed in all 50 states, best with employers with over $1 million in payroll and at least 15 or more full-time employees. And if you're on the borderline, we could certainly talk, as sometimes there are circumstances where we can consider reimbursing for your organization. And if you are smaller and reimbursing already, we can also consider you for our services and how we can help you reduce your risk. So I do want to talk about how SUI is calculated. Like I mentioned earlier, I'll show some real cost assessments we've done in the past. The taxable wage base is customized by each state. In Iowa, the taxable wage base is set at $39,500. All employers in the state pay the same taxable wage base. It represents the first $39,500 of an employee's earnings. There's no maximum and can increase or decrease by any amount each year. And then the tax rate is set annually by the state and is based on experience. So to calculate the contribution amount, you multiply the taxable wage base by the tax rate. So for Iowa, it's that $39,500 in the range of 0 to 7%. And this amount means that if each employee makes over $39,500, a company is paying in between 0 to $2,765 per employee in unemployment. And how we start doing a cost assessment is that we look at your EDD tax rate notice. In Iowa, the tax rate notice includes most of the information, such as the tax rate and taxable wages that we need for the analysis. And for this example that you're looking at, this was an Iowa member we just enrolled recently. For this example, this organization paid over $143,000 in taxes. They only paid around $77,000 in claims, so they were overpaying around $66,000 a year. Since the taxes were higher than the claims, we recommended reimbursing, which is what the nonprofit did after opting out of the state tax system and becoming a member of our trust services. And just to let you know, this was a larger organization, so they did have bigger savings. So if you are a smaller nonprofit, you might not get that big of a number for savings, but we would still be happy to look over that tax rate notice to see where you could potentially reduce your costs. And for the next two slides, they're also nonprofits we've helped with our cost analysis. They've also had some significant overpayments, and then they eventually transitioned to reimbursing. So for this first example, it's a human services nonprofit we worked with. The taxable payroll was shy of $1 million, tax rate of 4.7%. Estimated claims were only about $200 per year. And in this case, we look at a 3-year average of claims. So they were overpaying $45,000 a year. And think of what you can do with an additional $45,000 for your organization. For this next example, the taxable payroll is around $700,000, tax rate 3.38%, estimated annual claims is around $5,900, estimated unemployment taxes were around $24,000, so they overpaid around $18,000. And a little bit more about our company. We were founded in 1982 by a former UCP executive, John Huckstad. He was looking at different ways to save money for his organization. So he came up with the idea of starting a trust. He came up with the first kind of grantor trust, the Joint Unemployment Compensation Trust, that eventually became 501c services. We're also known as 501c agencies trust. And we started at about 25 members here in San Jose and have now grown to helping over 3,000 nonprofits in various ways. In 2016, John sold the company back to his employees, so we're now 100% employee owned, from our receptionist to the CEO. Every member is committed to our company and serving our members. Our services are valued tremendously by our members, with our company having over a 98% retention rate. And here are a couple of testimonials our members have shared. You can also go back to these later because I'll also attach the slides after the presentation to the follow-up email. And this is a clip from our 40th anniversary celebration a few years ago that includes testimonials from Anika Lunn and Mike Hoffman from Start Early, Mary Sue and Michael Eady from CISC, Sandy Leota and Chris Marshall at Baltimore Center Stage, and Phyllis Austin and Jason Penniger from Boys and Girls Clubs of America.
What makes me passionate about working for a non-for-profit organization is because I knew I always wanted to work for a mission-driven organization.
Our mission is to work with immigrant communities so that they can achieve the American dream.
501 helps focus our service to the community by giving us more time.
501 helps us focus on serving our communities by providing services directly to our HR professionals.
The biggest benefit for working with 501 is really the transparency and ability to forecast our costs when it comes to our unemployment benefits.
They also keep our cash flow steady through claims that are sound and take a lot of the admin burden off of us so we can just stay on autopilot.
We're very grateful for all the support you provided over the last 4 decades, and we wish you continued success in the future.
Congratulations, 501, on your 40th anniversary. It's been a pleasure serving with you for the last 24 years.
And like I said earlier, we work with several Iowa nonprofits. And this is a quick snapshot of a few nonprofits here in Iowa and across the US that are members. And as the video I'd mentioned earlier, our members appreciate how we save them time and relieve some administrative burdens. The first way we help nonprofits is through claims management. We offer unlimited access, or we help nonprofits with managing their claims. And with the claims management, we have unlimited access to hearing reps. Our team has an average of an 80% win protest rate. And you'll have a dedicated claims manager once you become a member of the trust. All your claims will go through an online portal where you'll be notified when a claim has been filed. So you'll go into the online portal to respond to the questions. And if you ever go on PTO and forget to delegate these kinds of tasks, it shouldn't be a problem for when a claim isn't responded to in several days, it gets escalated and handled. A big part of our claims management is that our team doesn't want to see your organization overpay or get hit by those Iowa error rates. So we can help you audit those charges for you or prevent you from paying a claim when someone gets terminated. We want to make sure that you're managing all your claims and have enough support to do so. Our HR services include 3 components. We offer access to unlimited HR consultations. We're a small dedicated team that can answer any of your HR related questions. So if you ever have an ongoing issue, you can develop rapport with a person that can support you and manage any of your HR questions. Our HR services also have trainings throughout the year that are HRCI and SHROOM certified. And we also have an online knowledge library with our HR services. With the 602 maximum weekly benefits here in Iowa, so paying that $602 a week for someone, our goal is to help you keep that cost as low as possible. If you do ever lay someone off, our reemployment tool offers packages that range from online coaching, resume writing, interview techniques. So it's never fun to let someone go, but you can at least give them those safety net and resources so it can help them secure a new job faster, and in return can help your organization save more money. The protection is the insurance part of our program. Most of our members take our stop loss protection during catastrophic claims. Other than catastrophic claims, for managing the highs and lows of unemployment, we have the trust account. This is a reserved account owned by your organization where you would save for those possible unexpected number of claims. So I hope this sparked your interest, and maybe some of you may want to manage your unemployment through us as a reimbursing employer. If you wanted to look into potential savings, what I would need from you is your 941s or estimated payroll from 2023 to 2024 as a reimburser. If you're paying into the state tax system, I would need a copy of your 2025 tax rate notice. And it would be also helpful if you had your 2023, 2024 tax rate notices. So we can look at additional data points for you, but I believe if you can at least provide the 2025 tax rate notice, that can give us enough information to do the analysis. So I don't see any questions currently, and I will stay on for another minute or so if you guys wanted to add any questions to the Q&A box. They will be saved at the end of this presentation. Otherwise, I will start signing off in about 2 minutes, and in the next few hours, you'll be receiving the follow-up emails that'll include the HRCI and Shroom credits, and also the copy of the slides. And probably in the next few hours, you will be getting the recording of this presentation that you can send out to your organization. And thank you so much again for joining this presentation. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. If you are still typing, you might want to save that for the follow-up email, and I could provide more information and talk with my team. So if you do have any further questions, I am going to log off, but thank you so much. This is my contact information, and you'll be hearing from us in a few hours. Have a great day.